Let's go back to our example of notating a static spin using the tether vectors. We had pairs of vectors representing the shifting orientation of the prop over time. 8 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 8. These were pairs of the variable a and a prime, but direction was ambiguous. If we want a complete picture, we just use b and b prime as well to tell us the direction and the path. So now we'll use pairs of both variables, a comma b and a prime comma b prime. To notate a static spin, this would read as 8 comma 2 to 1 comma 3. Then the next line would be 1 comma 3 to 2 comma 4. And then the next line would be 2 comma 4 to 3 comma 5. And then 3 comma 5 to 4 comma 6. 4 comma 6 to 5 comma 7. And then 5 comma 7 to 6 comma 8. 6 comma 8 to 7 comma 1. And finally 7 comma 1 to 8 comma 2. Just like with hand vectors, you have to be careful about making illegal statements when using momentum vectors. It wouldn't make any sense if you said something like 8 comma 6 to 2 comma 4, because the momentum is conflicting between these two orientations. You also have to watch out for gravity in the case of poi. We use momentum vectors of 0 to notate a 0 point, which enables you to do things like pendulums. For example, you could write something like 4 comma 2 to 3 comma 0, which tells us that the poi has turned an eighth of a full revolution counterclockwise from the bottom, and that it's come to a pendular stop. You could continue from there with something like 3 comma 0 to 4 comma 6, but definitely not 3 comma 0 to 2 comma 8. That would be impossible, because the poi would have to accelerate upwards. If you're intimidated by these potential mistakes that you could make, don't worry. Later on I'm going to teach you about classes, which neatly package patterns into groups of code. One of the major benefits of classes is that they can be very carefully written to respect the laws of physics, and then we just make those classes available to everyone as a standard set of building blocks. So it's actually more than likely that any line of code you're looking for has already been written. Up to this point, we have the tools in place to complete the basics of our notation system. We can describe where the hand is, where it ends up, the curvature of the hand as it moved from a start point to its end point, the initial orientation of the poi tether attached to the starting hand point, the final orientation of the poi tether attached to the ending hand point, the initial momentum and general direction of the poi head at the end of the tether, and the final momentum and general direction of the poi head as it arrives at its final position. Coming up next, what we're going to do is merge all these concepts into a standardized notation system so that we can describe segments of a pattern.